Constitution, free to live and to be free.
Thank you, Raging Grannies. My name is Chantal.
Which allows the Canadian government to throw you behind bars without charge, without access to proper bail, on secret allegations that you're never allowed to contest. And we know that in Mo Harkat's case, there are informants who have failed lie detector tests, who the judge has refused to allow to be cross-examined. There's an informant who is carrying on an affair with a CSIS agent, and on the basis of such a thin, impoverished foundation, they are trying to deport Mo Harkat to torture in Algeria. And in October, Justin Trudeau was very clear. He said, no one ever deserves to be tortured. In October, Justin Trudeau said, when governments violate the law, citizens should demand of those governments that we pester them until they follow the law. So Justin Trudeau, we are here today to politely pester you, and more importantly, to demand, as you called on us to demand of all governments who are violating the law, to end this deportation to torture. There's currently an application before Ralph Goodale to allow Mo to stay here, where he has lived peacefully for 22 years. Mo's never been charged with a crime. He's never been convicted of a crime. There's never been an allegation of violence against Mr. Harkat. He is a victim of racist profiling by the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, and it's time that we bring this nightmare to an end. I ask all of you who are here today to imagine what it would be like to spend the past 15 years knowing that at any time, agents of the Government of Canada can knock down your door, grab you in the middle of the night, and send you back to a place to be tortured. That, in and of itself, is an act of psychological torture. It is cruel and unusual punishment, and we are saying it is long past time that this be brought to an end. This Sunday is International Human Rights Day. It's the 15th anniversary of Mo's arrest, and we're saying that's as good a day as any to call it quits and bring this to a close. It is absolutely criminal that in the 21st century we are relying on a star chamber process which was used during the Middle Ages, in which individuals are not allowed to face their accusers. It's time that this man, my friend, and I am proud to be associated with Mohammed Harkat because he is an honest, decent, humble, hard-working individual. He will be a credit to this country if he's allowed to just get on with his life. Let's allow Mo to get on with his life. Stop the cloud of deportation to torture which is hanging over his head. Why don't you come forward, Sophie? This is my other friend, Sophie Harkat. This is a couple that simply wants to contribute to Canada, and yet they have to spend every waking hour of their days fighting this government, trying to force this government to just follow the law. The Convention Against Torture says you never, under any circumstances, send someone away to be tortured. That's what this government is planning to do to Mohammed Harkat. Why should we be investing millions of dollars of taxpayer money to send this man to torture? He's never been tried for, convicted of a crime, much less accused of a crime. It's time to bring this nightmare to an end. We're going to be going into Parliament shortly and calling on the Prime Minister, calling on Ralph Goodale, the Public Safety Minister, to act on an application that was put in last year. Over 2,000 Canadians, very high-profile Canadians, support this application to say it is not contrary to the national interest to have Mohammed Harkat live here with his wife Sophie and begin the family that they've been trying to begin for the past 17 years that they've been prevented from doing because of this threat of deportation and torture. So we want to thank all of you for being here today. And Mo, do you want to say a few words?
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your support, and thank you for keeping this alive.
We wouldn't be able to do it without you. Thank you, everybody.
So if you believe in human rights, send an email right now to Ralph Goodale and Justin Trudeau and say, you know what, on October of this month, earlier this year, and I'm going to get out this quote because Justin Trudeau actually said this, and I want to share this with everybody here. Should have had this out earlier, but it's too cold. Okay. These are the words of the Prime Minister from October 26, 2017. I hope people remember to demand of governments, this one and all future governments, that nobody ever has their fundamental rights violated, either through inaction or deliberate action by Canadian governments. Nobody ever deserves to be tortured. This is the Prime Minister speaking. And when a Canadian government is either complicit in that or was not active enough in preventing it, there needs to be responsibility taken. And so we are calling on the Prime Minister to say, you may not have signed the certificate, but you're now responsible for this certificate. Take that responsibility, uphold the Convention Against Torture, uphold the Criminal Code of Canada, all of which bar under any circumstances involvement in torture. Drop the case against Mohammed Harkat, because there is no case to actually hold in the first place, and end deportation to torture, not only Mr. Harkat's case, but in Mr. Rajoub's case, another security certificate case, and actually respect the human rights commitments that this country has signed on to. Why do we sign on to these things if we continue to violate them? The Convention Against Torture is very clear. No torture under any circumstances. Mr. Trudeau is very clear. No one ever deserves to be tortured. This man here faces torture in Algeria if he is deported. And so, Mo, if you want to hold that up, and again, you know, you said to me earlier what you would say to Prime Minister Trudeau. Do you want to repeat that here today?
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
So we
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
So thank you all for standing out here in the cold this morning. We're going to go in and hold a press conference. We'll be back out at 10:30. But in the meantime, we appreciate you being here and keep up the dialogue, keep up the struggle. And if Justin Trudeau comes by for a selfie, I'm going to leave one of these out here, and then you can make sure that he takes a selfie with his quote. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in a couple minutes.
So